Cinnamon buns. Cinnamon. Let's make this content.
Let's do it.
You did that on purpose.
I think that was intentional.
What up, what up?
Hey, how's it going, man?
How are you, man?
Good.
Welcome.
See?
Welcome to the Mentor Monday den.
This is dope, this is dope.
How's it going?
It's going. How
Good.
about you? How was your trip over?
It's good, man. Real nice and easy.
Yeah.
So I know you're kind of familiar with this a little bit. It's called Mentor Monday. It's a new little project I'm starting. And it really just came from getting a bunch of questions on social media when I run into people and realizing that, like, of all the content and stuff I'm putting out, I'm not putting out anything where I'm just answering anyone's questions or doing that in bulk and then putting it out so people can hopefully relate or whatever. So I always start with like just telling me who you are, what you do, where you're from, all that stuff so that I can kind of wrap my head around that and then just kind of fire away at any question or topic or anything.
Okay, cool. So I'll go ahead and get started. My name is Musa. I own a software development company called Volume Apps. I've been doing like entrepreneurial things since I was 19. I'm a proud college dropout.
Nice.
And I sold my first company when I was 19, and then later on that semester I dropped out of school.
So you sold the company first and then dropped out?
Yeah.
That's great.
So I was running a company while I was studying finance and computer engineering.
That's great.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot of fun.
Yeah, I
the
bet.
school component was...
At least you got the sale though.
Yeah, I was.
Awesome.
I think I was getting like a 2.1 GPA at the time.
Yeah. Well, at least you can justify it by like, hey,
Yeah.
I just sold my business.
Yeah, it was funny because my business professors were always like, "You don't understand anything about business." I was like, "Actually,
check this out."
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. When did you get started?
Technically I started Young and Reckless when I was, let's see, I'm 31 now, 22, 23. But I had dabbled in like trying to figure out, I started doing music production when I was like 20 years old. And got my ASCAP all figured out and started to build a production company and signed a couple producers under me and had a guy managing. So I was kind of starting to try to build these different businesses, but the one that I'm most known for, which is Young and Reckless, started when I was 22, 23.
Yeah. So how did you know what to do early on? When I got started, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just kind of winging it 9 out of 10 times. I didn't have data. I didn't have anything. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
What did you do?
Same.
Yeah.
So I think for me, like where I was really, really fortunate and had a lot of like instincts, I guess, is that I knew. So I had worked for a few years doing reality TV with my cousin, and so we had this audience there, and I started to, obviously be able to wrap my head around what type of people it was, with skater types and streetwear, stuff like that. And so then you kind of look at where those people shop, right? At that time, they were all shopping at PacSun, Zoomies, Tilly's was really the big three. And then skate shops and stuff like that. But I really started, like, what happened was my first attempt at sort of entrepreneurial work was building a music production company, but I learned quickly that all of this time I was spending on TV and all this stuff that I was doing there was not helping music production, because nobody in the music industry cares when you're making their song if you're on TV or not, right? Or if you have an audience. And so I just kept trying to find products that would fit that demographic. And I think that what happened was I ultimately just kind of saw like, hey, if I could create a really cool brand that stood for something that I could support constantly on this show, build it into storylines, and then send it to the distribution of where all these same customers are shopping, I think I could have some huge success. And that's where I think I had the initial success, was based on that just kind of instinct.
Well, what's a cool brand? How do you know what a cool brand is? Is it like instinct? Is it?
Yeah, it's instinct. I think it's something that people can connect to. That's why I came up with the name Young and Reckless, is because I thought, and at the time I was extremely unsure about it, but I just pictured like, man, I can build like a movement around this, like I can really get people, I can inspire people, I can teach people, I can do whatever, highlight different people, and I can really make it something that people feel a certain way when they put on a shirt, right? So I think there's a lot of different elements to a cool brand. I think the biggest thing is having core values that mean something that you can show in a cool way. You know, naturally we went and worked with a bunch of like rappers and athletes and cool people to align with so that people saw that common interest. And then I think bringing in the right designers and the right people on that aspect to actually make sure that the clothing was cool and that people wanted to wear it and it was on trend and up with the times and all that. I think a combination of all those things.
Well, was it always meant to be a platform for that movement, or did it kind of just turn into that?
Yeah, you know, I think this is what happened. I think in the beginning at 22 years old, sitting in my bedroom, like sketching out the word young and reckless, like I thought like, well, I want a brand that stands for something, not just a cool name. But I didn't really have a plan of like how to make it something, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that like, you know, one of the first big endorsement deals we did was with Meek Mill, the rapper. Yeah. And we showed his passion for riding dirt bikes in the streets and why he does that, and him and his friend from Baltimore named Chino, and just really tried to more highlight like his, you know, recreational side and what drives him to keep experimenting on that stuff and what makes him so unique, as opposed to the classic like rapper photo shoot. You know, this is almost 10 years later. I've learned with the power of content and social media and all that stuff, I can now do a podcast where I interview successful people and pass those lessons to the people that I want to be young and reckless, and, you know, talk to young people and just try to really actually give hard advice and knowledge on how to actually do what I'm saying you should do.
So speak on that advice then. What advice would you give me? And like, do I need a plan? Like you said early on, you didn't have a plan. I always thought I needed a plan because everyone was saying you need a plan, you need a business plan.
Yeah. What I will say is this. Without a question, a plan helps and goals help. That's not even debatable, but it's not absolutely necessary. I think that what some people do is they take that advice too serious and they end up sitting at home working on a plan forever, and they never actually put the plan into action. And I think that your plan can be as little as like, well, what are you going to do in the next 6 months? You can do those things, and what's going to happen is when you get to that next stage 6 months from now, a whole new set of direction is going to open up to you. You know what I mean? And then you're going to know what the plan is for the next 6 months and for the next 6 months. And it could be 3 years before you have a 10-year plan. I would say, what do you want to do? What are you kind of being drawn to? What can you carve out that you need to accomplish in the next 3-6 months? And then accomplish that like very, very aggressively, and see what doors open from there.
So what really like made me anxious a lot of the time was going to VCs, because I was like trying to formulate this plan, but I didn't know if like the plan was what they were looking for. I was too focused on writing the plan to appeal to them rather than appeal to myself. Yeah. How do I get over that hump where I need to stop doing things to please other people and like write my plan for myself?
Yeah, 100%. I think that that's extremely necessary, because the problem is this. You're not going to be able to execute some plan that you made up for someone else anyway. And people are going to be able to poke holes in it pretty quickly because it's just not yours. It's like if you came into this meeting and said, hey, I'm an astronaut, and you know, I'm from France, and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to be able to poke holes in that really quickly, and now your whole thing is going to unravel, right? Yeah. So I think that all you can do is really stay true to what your plan is, what you know you can accomplish, and try to carve it out as far in advance as you can, especially when you get into the realm of like raising money from VCs. I mean, it's understandable why they want to see a plan, right? If I'm giving someone a bunch of money, I want to know exactly what they're going to do with it every single month, you know? Yeah. And so I understand that part, but I think that you got to just kind of sit and be super aggressive and push the boundaries of what you think is possible, and do research, find out what the market is for this thing, find out what the opportunities are, find out what's going, you know, make sure you're fully educated, and then carve it out and say, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and I believe in it. And VCs and people like that, as long as you're moving forward and your plan is evolving and you're making money, they're going to be happy. You know, they're not going to, if you're making money and successful, but you've pivoted a little bit in 2 years, they're not going to come back and say, hey, man, you're not doing what you planned. Yeah, they don't care. They just want vision. They want someone who knows how to steer the ship.
Yeah. Well, did you ever have doubts about your brand? Like maybe fast forward like a year after you started, when you were 23, 24. Yeah. Like I've been there before. Yep. Did you ever have doubts? Did you ever like get to the point where you're like, you know, screw this, fuck it, I'm done. I never want to do this again.
Yeah. No, I mean, no, because I would have done that. I've definitely felt like maybe this isn't solvable. You know what I mean? Like I've felt that way.
And then how did you solve that then?
Yeah, I think the biggest, and to give you really the example, what really happened, and a lot of people didn't see this because of the way I launched my brand, it was instantly in front of a lot of people. Okay. And a lot of people knew about it. And so I think a lot of people just kind of assumed it was very successful kind of from the beginning. But what people didn't see was that we launched it and it was kind of successful for like the first 2 months. And then it literally just tanked. And I remember we would walk into PacSun stores, because that was our first big retailer, to see how we were doing. And we'd be like under a shelf, tucked in the back of the store, on the ground, you know, just terrible placement, and couldn't sell a shirt to save our lives. And it just literally, I thought like, oh man, like it was a great 2 months, a great launch, but this thing is dead. Like it's not going to work. Yeah. And that's really what kicked us into super high gear of doing marketing and doing everything we could outside of myself and what I was doing, because we wanted to show that this was really like a brand that really was here to stay and was here for this generation and meant something and whatever. And so that's when we did the Meek Mill thing. That's when every athlete under the sun was coming by our office, every young actor, anyone who was anyone before kind of influencer marketing. Mm-hmm. We had everyone coming by the office, just putting on a shirt, taking a cell phone picture, posting it on Facebook, you know, whatever it was at the time. And I've had a few of those moments, and slowly it built back up and started working again. And then we had other fall offs and recoveries. And think about why you did this. Why does this business need to exist? Mm-hmm. Why is there a place in the market for it? The business, the customers, the fans, the people that it really connected with it or needed it didn't change, just the distribution changed.
So you're like talking about like brand growth, right? It's kind of where I'm at right now, like delegating. I'm terrified of delegating. Yeah, it's always been like, I need to have my hands in everything. It scares me. Right now I'm like in the process of hiring product managers, or project managers, sorry. And I don't know, like, how do I hand that off? Like, how did you get over that anxiety of like handing your baby off to more than one person?
Yeah, I think it's understanding that like, if you want to grow to that size, whatever size that is, you have to do it. Like, there's no way around it, right? So you can.
You know they're gonna fuck it up.
They will. They 100% will. But the point is, it's a whole different skill set on its own that people just don't really talk about. And then when people blow up and get really big in entrepreneurship and stuff like that, they become kind of these rock stars or these know-it-alls, and they don't talk about that, you know? And I think that that's a lesson that everyone has to learn that's trying to grow and scale a business, but nobody really talks about it that much. And here's the reality. Any really, I believe, strong leader that's strongly connected to the brand or the initial vision is terrified of this exact topic, but at some point recognizes that it's necessary and learns to grow beyond it. So the only thing that you can possibly do is face the fear. You know it's necessary, so just get it over with. Start doing it and start learning how to hire good people, train good people, create systems that people can fit into. You know, one thing I learned early on is like, I would hire a marketing guy or something and think, okay, well, you're going to blow the brand up now. Yeah. And it's like, they don't know what to do. Sure, they might have some skills, they might have some connections, relationships, but they don't know exactly what you want from them. And if you don't carve it out for them, what their goals are and what their plan is, then how are they supposed to know how to impress you or not? You're going to hire 10 people. 8 of them are probably going to not stick around or not really meet your expectations. One's going to be good and one's going to be a rock star. And then you're going to go and you're going to do 10 more and 10 more and 10 more, and that's how it's going to work. I'll tell you, man, nobody's going to be able to give you the cure, because if you could, you'd be a billionaire. You know what I mean? It's like everyone that does it goes through it, creates their own processes, takes the pain, figures it out as best as they can. It's something that'll always be a problem, you know?
I think the reason why like I value your advice a little bit more on there is because you were talking about designers earlier. And that's like really the most important part of a business. Yeah. It's like how you design and like label the brand. Yeah. Like how many designers did you go through? Designers are like known to be like, no, this is like the design. I'm gonna stick by this.
100%. And as they should be, because at the end of the day, it's rooted in art, right? And who's to say that art is wrong, right? Yeah. It's just, it's not this is wrong, it's your style is not connecting with my vision. We have a designer now, in particular, that does an incredible job. And the reason why he does such an incredible job is because he not only understands what's cool, what's on trend, what our take on that is, but when he's designing a piece of product, he knows roughly how much that's going to cost to actually get made. And price is a really important thing to us because we want to keep it low and keep it affordable. And so he understands it from production to design to trends to everything. But that took literally 7 years of designers to find that one person.
Yeah, I mean, so I think like right now I'm really stuck on finding the perfect designer, finding the perfect developers, finding the perfect project manager. And like, do you think that's the right thing to do? Like trying to interview the perfect person or trying to just experiment with different people?
It's your job as a leader to understand what and be able to say what perfect even means. Because the problem is when you act out of a place where perfect is an idea that you have in your head, but you're not able to put it on paper, you're just setting yourself up for failure. Write down what perfect means, right? What exactly are you looking for? What do you need that person to do this month? What do you need them to do by the end of the year? And what do you hope that they'll be able to do for the next 3 years? And then when you meet with people, just do the best that you can at saying, judging their experience, their personality type, how they fit with your general vision and culture of what you're building. That's really important. And then when you make a decision, don't wait for perfect. Say, hey, you seem like it'll work. Bring them in. Tell them exactly this is what your goals are. This is what I want to see from you. And you'll be shocked at how some people that you thought were just fillers will end up killing it. And some people that you thought were absolute killers will suck. It's a trial and error thing. It's like dating. You know what I mean? It's like when you don't hope to meet your wife at 13 and then like hang it up and never, right? It's a process of learning who you are, how you are in a relationship, how they are, what you even want, what's good for the rest of your life. It's the exact same thing. You're just running through potentials over and over and over. And as you grow and evolve, you'll just get more clear on what you're looking for, who fits your company, and what exactly you want from them. And then when that happens, everyone that works for you will just be a little bit more proud to work for you because they all know that they belong there for a reason and they're all part of some similar sort of thing. I've heard crazy stories of like what Steve Jobs used to do in interviews. Like the weird, and I'm sure Google does crazy stuff. And the stuff that those guys do to kind of filter people out is next level, because they're trying to build these crazy companies.
What's your like day-to-day like now? Because you've gotten over that where I'm at right now, but like what are the challenges I'm looking forward to in the future? Like what are going to be my problems?
Well, I'll tell you, just like I just said, like I have gotten over it, but I also haven't. Like I've just simply gotten more comfortable knowing that this is normal. So I still am constantly dealing with hiring and firing and fits and how you find the right guy and this and that.
So it just gets easier. It doesn't.
You just get used to, like, once again, just to make the comparison, I equate it to literally, this is a little dramatic, but like a surgeon, right? I'm sure that the first time like a patient is sick for life or you can't cure them or dies, it's probably heartbreaking and you go home and like can't deal with it. I'm guessing that a really advanced surgeon understands that that's the business that he chose. It's gonna happen, hopefully more positive than negative. You know what I'm saying? Like you just understand like, oh, this is what it means. It's cool to say I'm an entrepreneur, I own a business or blah, blah, blah. But what it actually means is dealing with these things and they just don't hurt as bad. You know what I mean?
How did you routinize your day? Because I frantically check my phone every morning.
So I just learned not to. So this is the thing. It's the crazy reality that we've learned to expect problems because we're able to check for problems all day. So like back when we only had house phones and phones connected to cords, the problems were the same. We just didn't have the ability to check for them 24/7. But the world still moved forward. Everything was still going well, right? So my point is, we made that mentality up ourselves. That there's constantly maybe a problem, constantly maybe a problem, constantly maybe a problem. It just doesn't exist. And you will notice, it's hard to accept, but it's just true that there's almost never something on your email or your phone that needs to be responded to in 2 minutes or else someone's going to die or the business is going to crumble. It just doesn't exist. And also, you're much more effective when you sit down to handle things with a focused, allotted amount of time than when you're half responding throughout the entire day with not really paying attention. My phone all day, no question, is on Do Not Disturb, except for phone calls, right? Because I only get phone calls if somebody has a quick question. That's where the urgency is, right? Email does not show up as any notification on my phone at all. I have to click it to see what's in there. All my social media, Instagram, YouTube, literally anything that's not work is on a separate phone that I don't even bring to things like this. So I don't even have that on me. I don't have the ability to check Instagram right now if I wanted to. Okay. And then I literally put into my calendar times to check my email and respond to texts. If it's something super important, I'll respond right away, right? But that's hardly ever.
Yeah, how do you know what's urgent and important? Because like there's like that whole philosophy of like put off what's important but not urgent.
Yeah.
I make lists all the time. I love making lists, whatever. You hear it all the time. But even when I make a list, what goes first?
You know, it all starts from being clear on your kind of goals for yourself. Like if your goal is to do this with your company this year or raise money or whatever, that's now at the top of your importance list. So anything to do with that automatically is going to be out front, right? Okay. All the little other stuff, you'll start to get clear on what's priority and what are just kind of background things that are nice but can wait a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then for me, like really, really urgent means like, so it has to be aligned with my goals heavily. And then to be extremely urgent, it has to need an answer now. Like I just took a call before we started that you heard me talking on. That was because a employee of mine was trying to respond to a lawyer right now about an agreement. Okay. And if I wait until we're done with this, I just delayed getting a contract done, getting negotiations done, blah, 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 for another hour or 2 hours. And it's just like, I'd rather just take a 5-minute phone call, let them handle it and keep things moving along.
Are you thinking about the other person when you're like, when something's urgent and important, or are you thinking more about yourself?
Neither, I'm thinking about the goal, right? If the goal is to get this contract done this week, then I can either handle it now and finish, it'll be finished when we're done with this video, or I can wait 2 hours, then that's gonna snowball and create another 2 hours. And then who knows, the lawyer might be out, it might not get done today. Now the whole goal just got pushed back because I became a jam up. Well, you know when it's dealing with me, you're not gonna say, oh, we're waiting on drama to get back to us. We don't know how long, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And this thing could have been done a week ago.
Sometimes I have like those moments, it's like, it's probably for an hour straight. It's just like it's a temple rub. Yeah. It's like this supplier is contacting me and like they need an answer really fast, and then I have another supplier and the client's emailing me, and like 4 clients will email me at the same time. Yeah. And it's just like so overwhelming. You just want to shut your laptop down. Yeah. But like everyone needs an answer because you feel like you're bottlenecking everybody. Yeah. And I don't know how to do, I don't know what to do.
I just think one of my pieces of advice for you is that like you get really worn down and overwhelmed and temple rub when you've been answering little things throughout the entire day.
That's it, yeah.
And it feels like your whole day is just like small punches in the face. Yeah. Of course it sucks. Of course around 2 p.m. you're like, I'm over this. I just want to shut my laptop, right? Yeah. What I'm saying is try it one day. You'll be shocked to find how much more energy you have if all of that waits until you open your laptop at whatever time and you spend 30 minutes, an hour, however long it takes, answering every single question, and then closing your laptop, waiting until 5 p.m., answering every question, closing your laptop, right? I'm telling you it will make all the difference, because when you're not doing your email, you'll be free and clear to think freely and say, I'm not missing anything, I'll get to it at 5, everything's great. And then when you are doing it, you're free and clear to say, this is my time to work on it, handle these problems, and then I'll get back to life. It just changes everything, man. Like, we're not built to have a constant buzzing going off in our pockets from the world ending. You know what I mean? It's just not, it's not a good way to work. Yeah.
And then I wanted to ask you about that. Like, how did you personally keep like business and personal life separate? Because it kind of inks into like what we were just talking about.
Of course.
Like those notifications and everything. Like your mom's texting you or something, and then you feel bad by not responding to her within like 2 hours.
Yeah. Now, because of this like new clarity, like my mom will almost always get a fast response, right? Because I know that the other 10 or 20 can wait until my allotted time. You know, it just allows you to free things up. And I think that what happened is when I moved here when I was 18, I instantly hit the ground like, okay, I need to make something of myself, right? And just work 24/7. And I did that. And at like 28 or 27, I was just stressed and anxious. And I'm telling you that over the last 3 years, I have just come to the realization that that isn't true. So much of these things are in your control. And at the end of the day, you're playing a game here, right? And so you want to preserve your energy and then use it on the things that matter, and preserve and use it and preserve and be creative and then use it. And you just got to play it smarter. It's a smarter way to play the game. And it's realizing that you are not at the mercy of your cell phone or your watch or these ringtones or constant things.
And I feel like I am.
Yes. And so it's just mentally taking control of it. And man, I will tell you, you will work so much better, so much smarter, so much more effective, and be so much happier when you just take control of your day.
How much more efficient are you in the last 3 years since you had that realization than the previous?
10 times more efficient, and probably 10 times happier and clearer. Like, right, it allows me to do stuff like this. I can sit here, have this conversation, make this cool piece of content, put it out, share it with other people, really add some value to what I'm doing, and I don't have a care in the world about what's going on my phone.
Yeah, because sometimes I feel like I'm neglecting like the close people in my life, like
Yep.
my girlfriend, my parents, my brother, my sister.
Yep.
You know, the people I want to spend time with. But then we go out to dinner and I feel like I'm glued to my phone.
Yeah.
And then they just like are looking around the room and I notice that. I'm like, fuck, I'm on my phone again.
Yeah.
You know, and you just realize it.
There's a reason why there's all this backlash on Facebook. There's a reason why there's all these articles about depression and anxiety in young people because of social media, right? Nothing from our needs or our personal, like what we need to be fulfilled, has changed. We just have become, we've slowly just slipped into becoming sort of victims of all of this stuff. And I think the clarity and the realization that that's not healthy, there's no end to it, simply adding your mom into a text, to-do list of 50 other things is not going to give you a better relationship with your mom. It's not going to make you enjoy your time here better, your time with your girlfriend better, any of those things better. And at the end of the day, that's what all of this is for. Yeah. We're working hard to have a better life, right? That's the reason we all work hard. So why are we working so hard that we're ignoring our lives?
How often are you on social media, like just personally, just scrubbing through newsfeed? Do you ever find yourself in a rabbit hole?
I would literally say, and I don't want to act all perfect, so I'll say that for the last month, virtually not once, I definitely was before. I, on a good day, check my Instagram 2, maybe 3 times. And it's for a reason. Like this morning, I got up, I did my meditation, I texted my mom, because that's on my list. I wrote in a gratitude journal. I did all my little morning things, and then I allowed myself to catch up on my social media. And then I put that phone away, and I haven't touched it since. And I'll probably do the same thing maybe after like lunch, after some meetings, and I'll do the same thing before bed, before I shut my phones off at like 9 tonight. And that's it. And it's very intentional. You know how people say like they were eating like fast food and stuff all the time, and then once you stop, you really feel it if you eat McDonald's. That's literally how it is with social media. If I get caught in a rabbit hole for 30 minutes, I feel like shit afterwards because I know what I just did, and I know like what I could have been doing. I know that you feel it. But you don't know it if you're used to it, the same way if you're eating McDonald's every day, you don't feel it.
You said something just now that reminded me of what we were talking about earlier. When you get to your phone at 9 o'clock or any time of the day, when you open it up and then you see like 40 Skype messages or 30 text messages or 500 things on Instagram, like the little ticker, does that make you overwhelmed?
It's just about building a muscle. And when you build the muscle of what's important and where you spend your time, you can look at that. If anything, I'll look at that. I'll see, because I get notifications only from people I follow on Instagram, right? Okay. So people commenting, blah, blah, blah. I'll literally look at it before bed or whatever, and I'll see that like I got a bunch of good feedback on a video that I posted, and I'll just be like happy. Like I was like, oh, that's cool. Like people like it. But I don't feel the need to dive into everyone and to see, you just see like, oh, people are responding. That's cool. Because I think that like we're so used to these like meaningless little bits of conversation. They're like, oh, cool, dude. How's it going? Cool, like, awesome video, cool post. Like, I don't need to respond to that, Like me saying like, yeah, dude, thumbs up emoji is not going to change my relationship with that person. And you'll find that when you spend less time responding to all the dumb little messages, what's it do is it frees you up time to have actual real friendships.
How do I know my friends are thinking the same way though? Like what if they're in that rabbit hole, or what if they're like glued to their phone and I want to call them and then they sound like they're in a hurry, and then it makes me feel like, oh well, maybe I'm doing the wrong thing by putting my phone down. Maybe I have to dive into Instagram too to talk to that person.
The comparison that I would make on that is it's literally like if you decided, hey, I'm gonna get, let's just say you had been eating fast food and been really unhealthy, right? And so had all your friends. And you one day you said, you know what, man, screw all this. I don't have energy, blah, blah, blah. I want to get healthy. You started eating healthy, you started going to the gym, whatever. And you started inviting your friends to come with you. But they wouldn't, because they're all at McDonald's eating, and they're all blah, blah, blah. It's like asking, well, should I then give this all up and go join them at McDonald's, or should I continue? You're doing the right, healthier, more clear, more effective thing that's going to get you further and happier in life that you want to be. You should hope that by doing that, you'll kind of lead the way for some of your friends to come with you and do it too. If they don't, though, who cares? You know, you want to align yourself with people with with good values. And you want to go, if you do that, you're better off making new friends at the gym or at, you know, Tender Greens or your new restaurant than going back to your old friends at McDonald's. You know what I mean? You're going to make new friends. You're going to find people. Yeah. And I'm telling you, man, you can't worry about keeping friends or what other people are doing, because people will lead you down the wrong path over and over again until one day you just say, like, should have done that.
So how do I and my friends transition from being products of influence, being influenced, to people who influence?
Start looking it up and reading about it and seeing what these things do in time management and how humans are not truly able to multitask. And just look it up and
I've heard that. We can only, like, we're just binarily switching between different...
We think like, oh yeah, I'm blah, blah, blah. No, you're not. You're doing 5 things really shitty. And I think, once again, to make the same comparison, it's like watching a good health documentary and you're like, shit, like I'm going to die soon. You know what I mean? There is no magic bullet. No one's going to be able to tell you exactly how to change your life. You just start experimenting. You turn your phone on Do Not Disturb, you do this, you do that. Do these different things. Start to piece together what works for you and what helps you. Do all those little things and you'll see who comes with you and who doesn't.
Right now, looking back at it, I don't hang out with the same people I did 2 years ago. Yeah. And so, like, how's your friend group changed throughout the years? Yeah,
I mean, a lot. I think that the staples in my life have been there for a long time, meaning, like, my cousin's obviously been like a brother to me since I moved here. My business partner in Young and Reckless has been like a big brother to me pretty much since we started the brand. There's some kind of key people that have really taught me a lot and meant a lot in my life that have always stayed there. But yeah, it's constantly kind of evolving, except for those key elements that have kind of never failed and that I look at as kind of like mentor type figures.
Who's the right business partner for me? I've gone through in my startup career probably 2-3 business partners. Yeah. One kind of stuck around, but like, did it ever feel natural to you? Like, one of them left, but it felt like I should have kept them. Yeah. Like, does it ever, I don't know, really what I'm trying to ask, but
I think I got really lucky with mine, meaning that my business partner on Young and Reckless, we just get along really well, and we've also been able to evolve in and out of our own interests and still have the working relationship. You know, I've had kind of a little bit of it all. It's another thing that's just trial and error. The only advice that I can give on stuff like this is the more clear you are on what you want, the more likely it is that you're going to attract the right people. How long are we?
47 minutes.
Perfect.
Wow.
Good job.
Honestly, has not felt like that.
There it is.
I feel like we were really...
Yeah, that was good. That was really good.
Really good.
Listen, man, I really appreciate all the questions.
Yeah.
You did a really good job too at, like, you know, if you started with kind of like, here's the basic questions, and then really diving into like your particular things.
I mean, those were all things I'm actually going through.
Yeah, that's what I want.
It's not like, those aren't like just general questions. Like, I'm actually going through, like, I feel like at times I really don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. So does everyone. I do too. Yeah. But that's the thing, like, you're going to figure it out. Once again, get as clear as you can on what you really want from people, from yourself, from everyone. The clearer you are on that, the more you're going to attract the right outcomes. And then just go for it, man. Like, take the bumps and bruises and learn it, because I'm just telling you, the only way to get where you clearly want to go is to go through all of the shit, not to avoid it or try to find a way out of it.
I think I've been avoiding it the last year.
Yeah, you can't. Every time you avoid it for hope of finding the magic answer, you're just putting off going through it. You're going to have to go through it. Yeah. So you just jump in. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, man. Thanks for taking the time. This was great.
Absolutely.
Fuck yeah. Let's get a vlog here.
Yeah.
Was this like therapy?
Free therapy.
Like entrepreneur therapy.